Alright, so today's video is fastest way for mechanics to hit the top pay. So we've talked a little bit about the highest paid mechanics. One thing a lot of people don't realize is that a lot of the employers aren't going to always come to you and say, hey, this is what I need you to do to make the next rung of money. And I'll tell you why. When you have a shop, you have to have a variety of people, and some of those people are going to do things like just replace parts and what they're told to do, basically. And they're not going to do much figuring on their own. And they don't really have much bargaining position there for a higher wage, but they're also not in jeopardy of being fired. So they won't tell you that, though, and they will continue to use you, and you will continue to get angry because your pay never increased. So I'm going to tell you right now what it takes to make more money. It takes more skills. It's super cut and dry equation. You get paid for your skills. Now, I'm going to mention something about the sweet spot as far as making real money as a ranch. So I'm going to start out really quickly. This is aside from what the highest paid video I did and then some of the other stuff that I've talked about. This is a reiteration, but this is the sweet spot I'm going to explain. So the first bracket is as it stands right now. You're going to make 2 to 8K, right? Doing diesel work for sure, automotive work probably close to the same, maybe up to 10. But on a flat rate shop, you're going to make, you're billing the book hours and you're getting your cut of the loot that was, taken. The pay scale is set, so that you can only ask for what you can ask. You have to understand walking in the door, what is the pay scale? I am sick and tired of people asking, setting out jobs and not giving damn pay scale. That's just nonsense. Why would you think anybody's going to inquire about your job when you don't even you want to see how much you can hustle us for? You think we're dumb that we don't understand what we bill out an hour? This is the thing I think that's going to change in the future, is that there's going to be a lot of people who are going to be humbled by the fact that guys like me and you aren't going to be willing to take scraps anymore from the master's table. Either we have a fair deal or I will do my own. So the shop technician obviously get paid by the hour. So the sweet spot is to work directly for customers in the future. They will be the wealthy tradesmen, and they don't have to bill out some crazy hour. Actually, it will be the greatest equilibrium ever, because the labor rates will go down so much, because the overhead will go down so much for a lot of things that the shop isn't doing that the individual can field and do. And so I'm going to talk about this, some of the downsides or things to consider and ways to make it successfully on your own. Do it as an LLC, S Corp, C Corp. Keep an accountant involved with your books. Maybe every so many months, you're going to go to them and say, hey, here's all my receipts. Can you keep track of these things and make sure that my ledger is good for when I go in and do my taxes? Outside of that, it's just you. There's no phone a friend. It's just you. So if you can competently do the same work at the dealer, then you can go into business on your own. I almost guarantee you can. Unless what you do is change frame rails. But shoot, it's on to the next bullet here. So a reasonable rate. So if you are charging 75, 85, 95 bucks an hour, you will make money all day long. And if you do road call services and add on some additional cost for on-site service, or maybe you don't want to. I never did. I charged 100 bucks straight. And before that, I charged 65 inside of my Jeep. And I made, the first year I made $50,000 more than I ever made before. And the IRS gave me a full audit of every single one of my receipts because they didn't even believe me. And I only made a little bit, nothing compared to these guys who never get audited. But so you want to make sure your books are right. One thing I would recommend is do hard copy receipts so that you can keep a total of every one of them and, in the physical, and they're not necessarily in digital form. Some people say that's more difficult, but it's not if it's one guy doing most of his admin and turning in over his receipts, because then you're just keeping receipts for expenditures, keeping receipts for this, and making sure you, one more thing here I want to mention is you're not paying for parts. There's no upsell on parts if you're going to do this on your own. You have to trim the fat off that big ass bill that you're used to giving the customer as a dealer, and now it becomes something that's so palatable. Let the customer bring his own parts. Tell him there's no warranty. Get a receipt. The receipt states, and when they sign it, they're more likely to follow through on their end of paying it. But the receipt states at the bottom that if you're going to provide your own parts, there's no warranty on anything I do here. No workmanship, no labor unless I do the workmanship. And there is no debating whether or not I am the duty expert that's going to make the determination of whether or not it failed due to my workmanship or shitty parts. Okay? So don't put your name behind any crappy parts. Never, ever, ever. let someone make concessions to your quality of work to get them by. Because as soon as it fails, they will point fingers at you, and they will never tell their friends, I asked him to get me by. I mean, he did what he could. They'll never say that, ever. They'll never do that for you. So what you got to remember is my name and my workmanship is I'm the last stamp on that thing, and no one gets to tell me how I do it. If you want someone to do it half-ass, I'm not your guy. I pack my shit up and I go. I bill you for the time I got in it. And if you want to be mean about it, I don't need to bill you. I'll just leave, but I'll never, ever talk to you again. And you will need me far before I will need you. So what are you best at? This is the most probably important, crucial point out of all of it. What are you best at? Are you good at changing frame rails? And if you are, go get a forklift. Go rent a lot. There's enough frame rails out there. You could be doing them for people all throughout the, coast to coast. Truck drivers will take their truck to who they want to. I have had people tow their stuff from states away, literally tow it over here at the cost of thousands of dollars because the service they got was so bad. And within, $400, I diagnosed their problem. Another couple hundred, reflashed his ECU, put a new one in, and he was good to go. It was a transmission controller in that situation, but he was from Nebraska, the states away. And the point is that once they know they have a guy, they will bring and send all the work to that guy. If you have to phone your friend, you're not that guy. That's a fact. So do what you do well and tool yourself to be able to do that thing and not everything else. Don't stress yourself so thin trying to buy all the tools and do all the capabilities. I said this before. If you're going to go into business and you cast a net that's this big and you can only field pieces of it, then that will not work and your name will be crap. Because they don't know if you cast a net too big on this end or that. So just do what you do well and be 100% damn near billable on everything you do. I will mention, I don't think it's a good idea to be 100% billable. Give them reach around, give them a break and tell them, hey man, I'll take an hour, $100 off this because I want your business and I really appreciate you calling me. He will call you. He'll also tell his friends. I've had people come from states away to do tuning with me. Well, there's other people that could have done it, but they trusted me because I fixed the truck for their friend. And I've proven that my technical expertise is that of someone who should be charging a rate. And a lot of people, everyone, even shops tell me, even when I go and help them, you should be charging more. But I think $100 an hour is a sweet spot because that allows me to not be in a tight spot over making decisions like, am I going to buy gloves? Another thing I don't do, I don't charge for butt connectors. I don't charge for a piece of wire. If it gets into materials big time, well, then we'll put a bill of material, or what I'm going to need, you're going to approve it. But I'm not going to hit you in the end for some brake clean or bullshit. And if you're out there billing $100 an hour, you don't have to, dude. You can go get a case of contact cleaner, go about your business, and just keep it in the truck. And you don't have to bill it to anybody. When they see you doing it and not billing it, now you're different. You're different than the other guy who's just nickel and diming them through the repair. Okay, and it's getting long. Don't hire until you have twice the money to employ someone. So if it takes 50 grand to hire someone or 60 grand, and pay them well. But I mean, if it takes, you're gonna need 120. And just trust me. You can look at this yourself. I mean, and the fact is, without that cushion and without the insurance, anything that you do can easily be taken away, and you're never going to build something that's long-standing. The big cash is always spent on big businesses. That's why these big businesses are run by bean counters, and they tell us that we are at a ceiling of $27 or whatever the ceiling is, and it's not going to change. So the bean counters don't ever value you as the wrench beyond that pay scale. Just know that. So if you're going to breach off into the next pay scale, it's in business ownership or some kind of service being provided. Most dealers make you sign. I know I did. I had to sign disclaimers saying I wouldn't do work on the side, but and I honored that because I didn't want work coming away from the dealer because I would just tell people come to the dealer, I'll fix it. And that way they could stand behind it, had warranty, especially engine work and those kinds of things. Let the dealer, send that work to the dealer. But small jobs, guys, put 24 hours on your ad on Google, answer the phone, and or call back the people. Even if you just call back, that still matters because when they talk about you on CB or with each other at truck stops, they'll say, I went through that place and there was this one guy and gosh, he even called me back at 2 a.m. just to make sure I was okay. Those things matter because these people who are driving these pieces of equipment for a living, they depend on us to be the service support. In the Marine Corps, I was not a 0311 infantryman. All right, I believe I was a strong rifleman, but there was, granted, many people with greater skills in warfighting. but I was a 3521 diesel mechanic. It was right there. I went to school in the year of 2000. And even back then, I didn't take this theory of this serious because I never thought, well, I'm going to do this on my own. But until I spent 20 plus years and realized there's no money unless you're on your own. So I'm trying to save you guys a bit of time and a bit of toil, and just let you know now, if you have these big pipe dreams of becoming like this highly paid dude in this trade, unless you run your own shit or do your own jobs, it's not going to happen. And insurance, you can get insurance on your vehicle, and it will actually satisfy a lot of people's requirements to making sure that you have insurance before they cut you checks. There are people in particular that are better suited for road service than others. You have to be a very active thinker, but road service is probably, if I was to name one thing, that's the way to easily make $125,000 on your own, and you don't have to do tires. You don't have to do engine rebuilds. Obviously, you shouldn't be opening valve covers on the highway anyway, right? So what can you do? You can change water pumps. You can change hoses. I've been to the top of La Vita Pass here in Colorado, and in my little bitty Jeep that I started my business with, charging $60 $5 an hour, I had a torpedo space heater pointed at me. It was sub-zero outside, and I was there changing a coolant hose. So how deep is your hustle? Isn't the easiest job to go to business on your own, but you want to see fruit? That's how you see fruit. That's how you see the fruit of your labors, guys. And don't be mad at someone else for holding you back. It's you who's holding you back if you're not willing to just venture out. And nothing ventured, nothing gained, right? So don't be afraid to buy into yourself, because no one else can bet on you like you should bet on yourself. All right, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and keep them coming. Thank you for the support, guys.